What is good, YouTube? We have a video from one of my childhood favorites. This is that didn't look real for like 0.2 seconds. A classic, man. I'm gonna drop a like off the beginning. Young Justice, bro. Absolute cinema. We're gonna see his take on why Young Justice had to die. A year ago, this relatively old video just popped up on my feed, and we're gonna give it a little look-see. As always, appreciate a little like. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe if you know what I'm saying, want to show a little bit of love. Without further ado, we're going to jump right in and see if his content is something we're willing to subscribe to. And if at the end of this video you think my reactions are something you're willing to subscribe to so I can bring the content to you and we can watch it together, feel free to subscribe. Discord link down in the description with all my socials, like Twitch, which this was streamed live.
Anyone remember Young Justice? It was some show with Robin and Superboy and Kid Flash or something. That was a pretty good show. Until it wasn't. You see, I pretended I didn't really care about Young Justice, but in reality, I watched every single episode ever released. Alright, in case you don't remember or you know.
Because, it was really good in the first season, and it was like CW Flash effect, where, a show starts to fall off. Because, the artistry of a show is similar to a scientific study, and the fact that the good ones that last a long time, as researchers are replaced or unfortunately pass, you lose quality in work because certain people do things differently.
Not even aware of what Young Justice is, let me fill you in. Young Justice was a show that started in 2010. Cinema. 2010? I swear I didn't even know it was that long ago until I started researching for this video. I bet some of you weren't even born back then. I'm having a crisis.
I was 4.
Anyway, it was centered on the psychics of Justice League members forming their own team to do missions that weren't really worth the Justice League's time. Just think any mission involving a supervillain that your mum would definitely not recognize. Apart from that one episode where they had to fight the Joker and his team, and no one liked that interpretation of the Joker. Not for any of us! And the show got so goddamn popular, it was the introduction for a lot of people to DC. For example, a lot of people assume that the Dr. Fate helmet, once you wear it, you're possessed and you have no control over yourself. But I'm pretty sure that's only a thing in Young Justice. But that's what people think now. It was like one tier below Avatar in the timeless animation scale, aka, yeah, it was made for kids, but the shit they had to deal with kinda wasn't. Well, to be fair, I think that's what sets apart good cartoons from mediocre ones these days. Anyway, if the show was so good, why did it get cancelled after its second season? I don't think they ever officially confirmed the reason why they got cancelled, but the rumor was it was because they didn't sell enough toys. Could you imagine some shit like that happen to Invincible? I would walk into Target with a gun, I would grab all the Invincible toys, and I would go to where everyone's lining up to check out, and I would just throw them in to people's carts. But then a blessing came down from the heavens and revived the show to say, buckle up you sons of bitches, we're back in. But here we are, 2 years later after its survival, and guess what? It's cancelled. Again. And you know what's funny? After all this drama, I don't care. I'm sorry, I don't care it's cancelled. I appreciate the effort, the care, the artistry that was put into the show to make it possible, but I think at this point it's better to just leave it in the dirt to never be found again. Just like Kid Flash. By the way, if I sound kind of weird, it's because I'm sick.
You're a sick man with sick thoughts.
Sick, so I'm sorry. Recording this video is taking around 90% of my body's energy, so yeah. Reason 1 on why we should
Is everything still in 1.2? It is, huh?
Leave Young Justice behind. The characters were just not it anymore. So listen, the amount of new characters that the show was adding every season was frankly getting quite ridiculous. So after season 1, we enter a 5-year time skip, and suddenly we're balls deep in a new roster.
Which again, a 5-year time skip is unnecessary. I get we want to cover the story of Nightwing leading because they say from the beginning, Robin was supposed to lead, but it's going to be when he was ready. So I think it would have been better to either extend it some more or go into a transition period where he's like a co-captain or something under Aqualad. And then the climax of the series where he makes a call that's the right call. And it's like, you're ready, you know? And then this new team would have been people that he's been co-leading since he's practicing. And then it would be an easier transition to bring these new cast members in for the beginning of season 3. Pacing is very important. Animated cartoons, whatever. And a studio can really sell that.
About, oh, what happened to these guys? Why is he a bad guy? Why did they break up? But you know what would have been better? To see Dick Grayson go from Robin to Nightwing. To see Jason Todd's time as Robin. To see Dick Grayson go from Robin to Nightwing. Yes, I said that twice. To emphasize how badly they fucked up by not showing that. Okay, sure, season 2 added a bunch of new characters, but there's still an overall focus on the original team, who are far and fucking beyond the most interesting characters. So after season 2, it got cancelled and revived, so after 7 years, fans are really excited to see the gang back together again, right? It must have been a crazy fucking season. Nope, because the creators decided to focus on 3 new characters who were, to put it lightly, not the most interesting characters. I couldn't even tell you why they went in the direction that they did. So they bring in 3 new characters, Geoforce, Forager, and Halo. Listen, I love Troy Baker's work, I think it's a fantastic voice actor, but hearing his weird European accent over and over again made me want to slam my head through the screen over and over again. And speaking of voices,
Crazy.
Forager's voice was not it. Anyone who remembers what he sounded like knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Forager apologizes to Forager. But Forager must admit, Forager is surprised
Forager gave up Forager's seat at the conference. Forager would not have made such a choice. Forager just... Stop it. Get some help.
And then for some reason, we focused on Black Lightning this season as well because he has PTSD or something. I get that this kind of thing is important to talk about sometimes, but this is a Young Justice show. I don't give a shit about Black Lightning, bro. Change the show's name to Middle Age.
It's like you literally have to guide it better. Like, if we're focusing on Static Shock, and he's like a young member of his team, and his mentor is going through something, and yeah. You know what I'm saying? They didn't pace things well, and you just jump into things. And even though those things are nice on paper, jumping into them takes away like some of the nicety from it. For example, kind of a crazy example, but like an intimate relationship with a human being, you don't just jump into that and force it, because then it loses the fact that it's an intimate relationship. For example, working out to get in shape, you don't just jump into being in shape because you didn't go through the process. You don't have the skills to utilize what you now have. It takes away its value. It's still there. It's still nice, but it's not as good as if I obtained this physique through the work. So I know what I need to do calorie wise, what I need to do stretching wise, what I need to do hydration wise to maintain it.
Age Justice, if you're gonna do some shit like this.
Go ahead, zap me. Absorbing lightning's totally my thing.
You've never had Black Lightning before.
Hey,
When you watch season 1, you kind of get the sense that they're all family with hijinks and all. But with new people coming up every season, it's like you're trying to cover an entire pizza base with 4 pieces of shredded cheese. I don't know if that made sense, but
yeah,
what I'm trying to say is I feel
stretching
like
them.
Reason 2 to why we should leave Young Justice behind. It was never gonna end. Greg Weisman, one of the creators of the show, who also created Spectacular Spider-Man, by the way. So basically, in my books, this guy can shank a kid in the middle of the streets, and I'll be like, guys, I know that's bad, but he created Spectacular Spider-Man, so maybe we should give him a little leeway. Or... Anyway, this is what Greg Weisman said about Young Justice getting more seasons. There will never be a proper ending to Young Justice, ever. So we'll either get more seasons, or we won't.
Okay, but if that's the case, it shouldn't be like, oh, let's script something completely new. Let's script something completely new. It should have been an 8-season-long series where, like, there's good pacing and sequential order. And then it's just like, oh, we kind of got bored of, like, scripting and stuff. That's better than, like, we got canceled because we just kept throwing new stuff in that people didn't enjoy. You know, we lost the sauce. We lost the base.
Meanwhile, we have a game plan for at least 3 more seasons figured out. By the time we finish those, we probably have 3 more. Okay, before we overreact, I know that Young Justice was always about exploring the DC universe, and that there'll always be a new generation of heroes, and there'll always...
But before we even get there, it's Young Justice. You need to cover the first generation. It's like if we had a story about Batman and he's switching out Robins every season. We need the development for it to have significance. Not to mention, these heroes in the Young Justice eventually join the Justice League. So that journey to the maturity is important because they can either be recruiting or tied to the new heroes.
A new Young Justice,
the same way the Young Justice are tied to the current Justice Leaguers.
Justice, but... Fuck. I would rather let the show focus on the single set of characters, let us watch them grow and change, and finally let them beat the enemies they've been warring against since the first season. That's like saying, hey guys, we're gonna replace Grant Gustin's Barry Allen with Wally West because the show's called The Flash, and there will always be a Flash. Like, what makes you think that I'm gonna invest more of my time into the show when my main emotional investment is not there anymore? Oh my god, it's like 10 degrees outside and somehow I'm sweating. Holy shit. Anyways, that previous reason, that brings me to reason 3. The stories were just taking way too long to be resolved. Alright, if you've at least seen the first season, you know the bad guys is a group called The Light, which is a collection of supervillains. Basically a little legion of...
Mind you, there could be more groups of villains. And second, there doesn't always have to be a group of villains on the surface level. It can also cover those psychological journeys and individual stories where they experience trauma and they have to solve it as a team. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention, to add on to that, it doesn't have to be it could be just like the first season where this group is discovered through a series of things happening.
Dude. And this group, they basically stick around for the entire show, and it's revealed that they're teaming up with Darkseid to invade Earth. The thing is, this team up was revealed at the end of season 2. Do you know who the main villain for season 4 was? General Zod. Yes, General Zod, the Superman villain. God knows why they thought General Zod needed to be included in the show. I bet if the show would have continued, you would have had to wait until at least like season 50 to see Darkseid just take a step on Earth. And I brought up Jason Todd earlier, and that was for good reason. You know why? Because he's fucking alive. I'm sorry, but when they showed that he was alive and not dead, that infinitely became the most interesting mystery in the entire show. In case you didn't know or remember, they also structured season 4 a bit differently too. They must have realized that no one really gave a shit about the new characters, so they gave each of the OG characters a 3 to 4 episode story arc.
Nice.
And you know who they say for last? Nightwing. Cool. And what was his arc about? Confronting Jason Todd and all the events that led up to Jason Todd's death. Kidding, a fucking moron. It was about bringing the team together and fighting General Zod. Wait, you're gonna tell me that when you think of a Nightwing story, you don't think of one where he barely has a role and has to fight a Superman villain? Come on, dude.
You're crazy.
And I know I might get some hate for this, but Beast Boy in season 4, he goes through some depression. And when I say depression,
That was
I mean
fire. I like
depression. I understand that's good to get an accurate representation of what depression does to someone, but to just see for half the season a kid just lie in his bed, get angry at his friend.
Half the season is unnecessary. A quarter of the season at this level, necessary, and then maybe the second quarter swinging out of that funk, necessary. But the entire half just moving like these, no. But I did like the moments he had.
His family and teammates, it doesn't exactly make for good TV. His depression was infectious with me at that point. There's a difference between accuracy and drama, because otherwise that new Hitman movie, it would have been boring as balls. So yeah, I'm no longer excited to get blue balled by Young Justice, nor am I fucking clamoring for a new season. Just let things fall where they may. That's not the right saying, but still. Alright, that's all I have for this week. Check out my second, fuck, I'm sweating so much. Check out my second channel.
Bro, the second channel.
Check out my Instagram, my Letterboxd, my music, my TikTok maybe. I might have given up
He
on
has
that
music?
by the time this video comes out. And yeah, check out my other videos, I guess. I don't know. I'll see you next week.
Nice, man. Shout out Andy M. Lee. We'll give bro a little sub. You know, check out some of his recent content. Appreciate your boys for sticking around to the end of this video. And as always, make sure you stay happy, healthy, and hydrated. I'm going to be catching you boys in the next one. Peace.